Hi, I'm Jahrid Longsworth and I am a SaMo High student. Today I will be making a quick and easy dairy-free meal. The reason I'm making this dairy-free meal is because I'm actually allergic to dairy. So me and my mom have had to be creative with the ways we create food. Alright, so let's get started. We're going to be making some Caribbean curry and some coconut rice. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn on the heat first. I'm just going to put it to high. Then I'm going to take my water and I'm going to put it in the pot. So let's do that right now. So then I'm gonna put in about a teaspoon of salt, sorry. Then I'm gonna put in, so I use this Grace coconut powder. You can use coconut milk, but I prefer coconut powder. So I'm gonna put in 2 tablespoons of coconut powder. And then I'm going to get a fork and I'm just gonna mix that around just for a second. And just allow the milk to combine with the salt and so the salt doesn't stick to the bottom. So now I'm gonna add the rice. So it's just a cup of rice. So 1 cup of rice to 1.5 cups of water. So just gonna open this right here and put in the rice. So I'm gonna mix the rice just a little bit, not very much. You don't wanna mix the rice because then it's gonna become lumpy and you don't want that. So just put the rice so the water's over it, then I'm gonna put the lid on it and allow that to cook. And while that is cooking, I'm going to get my chicken. So I have about 1 pound of chicken right here and I've already cleaned it. You know, I use water and lime and vinegar so I could get all the bacteria out. So I'm just gonna put this into my bowl. Then I'm gonna take some curry powder. I use this, it's an all-in-one curry powder. And I'm just gonna take some of this and I'm gonna put it in my chicken. So I'm gonna just take 2 tablespoons of this for 1 pound of chicken. So just 1 tablespoon and another 1. So I have 2 tablespoons in there right now. And then I'm going to add, my garlic. Sorry, this is ginger actually, just a half a teaspoon of ginger. So I'm gonna add this to my chicken. And then I'm going to add garlic. I'm gonna add garlic powder, about a teaspoon of garlic powder. And then I'm gonna grab my spatula and I'm gonna mix this because I don't wanna use my hands with this because the curry powder actually will stain your hands. So what you wanna do is you use a spatula and just mix it around to get all the seasoning around on the chicken. And while I'm doing that, I gotta pay attention to the rice. So now that the rice is boiling, I'm gonna turn down the heat just to like low. So allow the rice to cook. So I'm gonna allow that rice to cook for about like 10-15 minutes, and then I'm gonna check on it. And that's when I want to fluff the rice. And as I'm doing this, I'm gonna actually start the stove right up for the chicken. I'm gonna put that on high heat so I can put my chicken on. Now that my chicken is pretty well coated, I'm gonna put some oil onto the pan with my chicken. So I just have some oil here. Just, you know, you can use any kind of oil. I'm just using vegetable oil. I'm gonna pour it in here. Now what you want to do with the oil is you're going to pick up your pan and you're just going to move it around so you can get the oil nicely coated onto the pan. So I'll put it back here. So now I'm just going to allow that to heat up and then I'm going to put my chicken on. And then I'm going to put some vegetables. I have onions, I have cilantro, and I have bell peppers. I personally, it's not like it's a personal preference on what kind of bell peppers you like or what kind of onion you'd like. We're using red onions and just regular cilantro and bell peppers. So now that my pan's heated up, I'm gonna put my chicken on there. So I'm gonna just take this and I'm just gonna lay it in there. All my pieces of chicken. Just wanna evenly place them. I've got a nice and hot stove, so it's gonna take about 2 minutes on each side. So you know, you gotta be paying attention to your chicken when you're cooking it. So I put my chicken on there. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put some I'm gonna put all my vegetables in the same pan that I used my chicken with. So I'm gonna put my onions, my red onions in there. So I'm gonna put all my red onions in there. Then I'm going to take my cilantro. I'm also gonna put all my cilantro in there. I wanna make sure I get all my cilantro out. Then I'm gonna take my bell peppers in the same pan that I had my chicken in. I'm gonna put all of this in here. Then I'm gonna take about half a cup of water. I'm gonna put it in here with this. And then I'm gonna take some coconut milk, the same kind of thing with the grace. I'm gonna use that coconut milk and I'm gonna put it in here with the vegetables. So I'm gonna put about half of this in here. So it's about let's say like a half a cup or a cup of coconut milk in here. So I'm just gonna pour that in. So then I'm gonna mix all this together. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add a little bit more of that coconut seasoning onto this so that it can get all that coconut flavor, all the flavor of the coconut milk and all that flavor. So I'm gonna just take this and I'm going to just take about a half cup of this in here, about a half cup of the seasoning, and just put it in here, just the curry seasoning. And then I'm going to mix this. And so while I'm mixing this, I gotta make sure I'm being wary of my chicken because my chicken cooks really fast. So I'm gonna just mix this all in. I have all my vegetables and all my paste in, and then what I'm gonna do while this is all cooking and while that's cooking, I'm gonna take my fork and I'm gonna just check on my rice. So my rice has been cooking for about a few minutes now. So I'm just gonna check it. It looks pretty well, looks good. Just gonna fluff it around. Like at the beginning, you don't want to touch your rice, but now that I've, let it cook for a little bit, I just want to move it around a little bit. Just like move it so it doesn't stick on the side. Just move it to the middle. Just fluffing the rice a little bit. So I put my heat on my rice to low so it doesn't burn, so it could just cook well. And then I'm gonna leave it this time. I'm gonna leave it uncovered. I'm gonna get my fork and I'm gonna flip my chicken. Yep, nice and cooked. So you wanna have a golden brown crust on it. I'm gonna just flip all my chicken. Flip all my chicken. And that's it. So I'm gonna let that finish up, and then I'm going to put my vegetables in there with it and just let it simmer down. So while all that's cooking, I'm gonna put away all my ingredients. So I'll put away the milk. And then I think that should be just about enough time. I'm just gonna check it, you could just lift it up to check. And it looks pretty well cooked on each side. So I'm going to put in my vegetables right now. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna take this pot with all my stuff in it and I'm just gonna pour it in here. So I put all of that in there. Now I'm just gonna lay it down, put it all over. So it's gonna cook nice and well with the chicken. Just letting it collect all that flavor from the chicken. Just gonna put it down like so. And now I'm just gonna let it simmer down. Okay, so now that my rice is done, I'm gonna take it off of the burner, the stove. I'm gonna just set it aside, and then I'm gonna put my other pot that I'm gonna be using cooking my plantain with. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna unscrew this. It just has oil in it, like everyday oil. I'm having a little trouble here. Oh, I got it. And then I'm gonna be pouring all of this oil in here. It just depends on your pot size. You wanna have enough oil so that you can put your plantain in it completely. And then I'm gonna start the heat on this. So I'm gonna just put it on about like right above high. So then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut my plantain now. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start by cutting off the edges on both sides. So this edge right here, and then I'm gonna be cutting this side of the edge right here. Then I'm gonna cut it at an angle like kind of like diagonally. So I'm gonna cut it like this. Then I'm gonna take my plantain, I'm gonna take it right down the middle here. And I'm just gonna make sure it gets in a little bit, I cut it into it a little bit. And then I'm just gonna bring it down, bring my knife down. And then I'm going to use the knife to separate it. And then I'm going to just peel these things apart like so. So I take it off like this. And now I'm just taking off the skin off here. So I have one completely taken off, so I'm gonna do the same for the other one. So I'm just gonna, like I said before, I'm gonna just push it down a little bit and then let the knife do the work. Then I'm gonna take it off. And I take off the skin off the plantain completely. Ooh. And I'm just gonna cut it like this. So I'm gonna take it, put it down, set it straight, kind of like this, and I'm just gonna cut into it. And then I'm just gonna make this kind of small shape right here. And then I'm just gonna cut off that excess bit right there, and then I'm gonna just do that, repeat that process for the rest of it. So like that. So they should all come out around the same size. And then for this one, since it's the last bit, I'm just gonna cut it in half like that. So I have my plantains like this. So my oil should be getting hot. So while I'm doing this, I'm gonna do the same thing for the other side. Just gonna cut it in little pieces like that. Now you wanna be careful with plantain because it's very slippery, so you could cut yourself easily, so you wanna be careful. I'm going to put the plantain down into the oil, so I'm just gonna carefully set them in one at a time. Carefully. You want to put it at the very last second so you don't let the oil splash back at you. You want to be careful when you're doing this. Just carefully put all my plantain in there. All of them in. So now I just have my excess pieces here. And I'm going to put this last excess piece in here just to allow it to cook. And then I'm going to take my fork and I'm just going to move it around in the oil just so it can get evenly coated. And then I'm just going to let that heat up. I'm just gonna put the rice, I'm gonna just plate everything up, so I'm gonna put the rice onto my plate. I'm gonna put about almost all of the rice on there. And then I'm gonna take my plantain, and I'm just gonna get some of that. I'm gonna just get 3 of those, put them on here. I'm gonna get some of my curry. I'm gonna put my curry on, put some of my curry on here. I'm gonna move this out of the way. And I'm just gonna take some, put some of my curry right on top of that rice that we made, the coconut rice that we made. Oh. And this is how you make Caribbean curry with coconut rice and plantain.
Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this recipe. I hope you try it.
Yeah, that's good.